Hello again everyone, Winter here, and sorry about the delay in this video. I'm here in Singapore today, enjoying the awesome sights and great food. But I wanted to take a break and get this out to you. And again, thank you for continuing to send in your questions. I'm going to get through as many as I can with you today. So please get that notepad out, take some notes, because there is going to be quite a bit you can learn from today's Q&A. So let's start off with Marie, who says this. I have been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis that leaves my income very limited. I am looking into creating more income, but can't risk losing what I have. I have no retirement funds, as my husband passed away unexpectedly 6 years ago. I am not financially supported in any way either. So any help you could give me would be very much appreciated. First off, Marie, I'm sorry that you're going through a very rough time. Unfortunately, a lot of things can sometimes derail us from living the best life we want for ourselves. Sadly, chronic illness included. I understand that your condition comes with a heavy price in terms of expenses for treatments and loss of income. But there are ways for you to ease your financial burden. If you haven't already done so, I recommend that you look into organizations that might be able to help you with your financial situation. One such organization that you can approach is the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Depending on where you live, they may be able to provide you with financial assistance or connect you with other existing organizations that can. Another organization you might want to consider approaching is the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America, or the MSAA for short. The MSAA not only provides funds and programs that can help your financial situation, but also equipment that patients need for their safety and convenience. The Multiple Sclerosis Foundation is also another organization that provides grants and programs to MS patients. Now this may sound like a drag, but you might also want to consider working out a budget or financial plan that's catered for your situation for long-term security. For anyone who's facing any sort of financial problem, it's always a good idea to look into what you have right now so you're able to make the best of what you have right now and determine just how much financial assistance you need from the relevant organizations. This is especially important for anyone having to deal with a chronic illness. As you're probably already aware, you'll have to consider medical expenses on top of everything else. Fortunately, there's a ton of resources out there that you can look into. The National Multiple Sclerosis Society has an entire section dedicated to financial planning that offers information and guides on financial planning. There are also free online webinars and programs that you may find useful in working out the best budget or plan for yourself. Websites like laweasy.com and rv4thecause.org also help educate people on financial issues and financial planning for those living with chronic illnesses like multiple sclerosis. Now take some time to look at these resources so you get a clearer picture of your situation before making any decision with regards to your finances. It's also probably a good idea to see if you can talk to someone you trust or someone qualified, such as a professional financial planner, to look over your options with you. Or you can always make a call to one of the organizations mentioned earlier. They have people who are more than happy to help you. I know that sometimes it's hard to reach out for help when you truly need it. I know quite a few people who are too proud or too stubborn to ask for the help they need. But sometimes we have no choice but to deal with the hand that we're dealt. And sometimes that means asking for help where necessary. Now, while coming up with a financial plan is important, keep in mind that the most important thing you can do is to maintain a positive outlook. Remember that belief is everything. So if you believe that things are never going to get any better, then guess what happens? Nothing gets better. That is what you are asking for. That is what you are putting out there. No matter how bad a circumstance we end up in, we always have a choice with regards to how we react to the circumstance. We can give up and resign our circumstances, or we can keep fighting and find ways to change our circumstances for the better. We go through adversity so we come out of it stronger. Some even come out of adversity and find their calling, like the author of Life Without Limits by Nick Vujicic. For someone who was born without arms and legs, he managed to find success once he found his calling to help others get through their own adversity. I truly hope this helps you in some way, Marie. Now, this next one comes from Simon, who says, I don't like the way my life is being controlled with work, as I'm working nearly 7 days a week. With my current job, I have a dream one day of owning my business, but I can't seem to focus on this with work and family taking up most of my attention and time. I completely understand where you're coming from, Simon. Making ends meet can sometimes mean having to put in more hours than we'd like. And who doesn't dream of working for themselves? Thing is, when a job takes up almost all of your time and leaves you with very little me time, that could be a cause for concern. Overworking can lead to anxiety, frustration, bad health, and that's just some of the negatives. It's fine if you're working long hours every now and then to complete a project or assignment, but if it becomes the norm and eats into your personal time and your family time, then maybe it's time to figure out why work's taking up all of your time. Are distractions stealing your focus from your work? It's not hard to end up being distracted these days. You could be online looking up information for something you need for work and then stumble across an interesting link on the page that might not be relevant to your work. You think, oh, it'll only just be for a second. Next thing you know, you're forwarding that link via email, or worse, Facebook. You promise yourself that you'll only post the link and then get back to work. Then you wonder what your friends are up to and scroll through your news feed. 10 minutes go by, then 15 minutes. See what I'm getting at? Now, of course, there might be a more genuine reason for you working long hours. Maybe you really do have to put in every single minute of your day into work. If that's the case, then maybe you should learn to say no when it matters. If your employer is making you work longer than the standard working hours, I really hope you're being compensated fairly for that. Because if you're not, then you know that's against the law, right? Here in the States, anything over 40 hours in any 7-day period requires additional pay, with the exception of contract work. But that aside, you definitely need to know your limits. If you really feel you can't handle the workload given to you, then tell your employer you need help getting it done. Or you need a more reasonable deadline that won't have you working 7 days a week. Productivity suffers in the long run when you overwork, because you're tired, stressed, and can't perform at your best. So it's really in the interest of both yourself and your employer to consider not overworking yourself or other employees in your situation. Distraction and time management aside, you really have to decide what's more important at this juncture. Now, if you're really serious about getting your own business off the ground, then you need to find a way to change the number of hours you presently spend on your job. Even dedicating a half hour out of every day to focus on what needs to get done in your own business is enough, because that's you taking action. If you don't take any action, then how can you expect to get things you want out of life? Use that half hour to make notes on your future business. Start making plans or compile a list of people who you can connect with in order to get your business started. You don't even need a full half hour. If you have short breaks throughout your day, use them wisely. A 5-minute break spent thinking on how you can get your business going is better than spending all of your 5 minutes spacing out thinking about nothing. Again, it's all about taking action. Now, if you really can't find the time off work, then talk to your family. Tell them that you might need a bit of time to yourself for however long it takes for your business to get off the ground. Chances are they'll understand, especially if you tell them that you're doing it so you can build better lives for them in the future. That a small sacrifice now will make all of you happier down the line. Decide on what's really important to you, then take the step necessary to move forward with it. Now let's move on to Lee, who asks this. I have not had much luck with my job, as I always put in so much effort with my work, but I also feel underappreciated by my boss. I have made so much improvement and progress, and so many of my colleagues have noticed. Why can't my boss see it? I am very frustrated and almost broke down once due to this. Now I'm thinking of giving up my job as I feel so discouraged. Why can't I have a boss who appreciates my work? Here's the thing, Lee. It sounds like you're being an exemplary employee. There are employees out there who are more than happy to just get by and coast along the job instead of constantly improving themselves. But I don't think you're one of those guys just coasting along. The thing about feeling underappreciated at work is that it's actually a very common thing. You're definitely not alone. There are many people out there who bust their ass and feel as though they're not appreciated. Not all bosses are unappreciative jerks. Some might have a different management style. Some might be too focused on the performance of the company as a whole to consider how their actions might affect their employees. Some might need a little gentle reminder that a little encouragement goes a long, long way. So here's what I recommend. Talk to your colleagues. Are they feeling just as unappreciated as you are? Or is your boss just getting on your case? Before you make any decision regarding your future in the company, try doing these things. First, find out what your boss appreciates. It might seem like he doesn't appreciate what you're already doing because it's what he expects out of you. Maybe he doesn't think you're going above and beyond what you're expected to do, that you're simply doing what you're paid to do. By finding out his definition of going above and beyond, you'll know the right buttons to push and have him take notice of how hard you're working. Second, treat your boss as your customer. Now hear me out on this. Most services you use these days have satisfaction ratings or surveys, right? You're asked for a rating or feedback after you're done with the service, so the service provider knows what they can improve on. Now do that with your boss. For example, maybe after you're done with the presentation of a proposal, ask your boss for a minute of his time so you can speak with him briefly. Ask if he was satisfied with what you presented and if there's anything he thinks could have been done better. Even if you don't make presentations to your boss, maybe just pop by his office when he isn't busy and ask if he could spare a minute to talk about your job performance so far and if there's anything you can improve upon. Focus on finding out your boss' satisfaction instead of expressing your thoughts of feeling underappreciated. That way you can avoid making it sound as if you're complaining. Plus, if you make it sound like you're looking for ways to improve yourself, your boss will be reminded of the fact that you're willing to go above and beyond your call of duty. You have planted the seed at the back of his mind that you're an exemplary employee who's willing to go the extra mile. Third, consider the fact that your boss has actually taken notice of your work. Now, unless your boss has expressed his displeasure with your work, you don't actually know if he doesn't appreciate your work. He could be taking notice on his own. Maybe he's already planning to reward you for your own work. Maybe he's just waiting for the right time to let everyone know that you're an exemplary employee. Whatever the case may be, if your boss hasn't explicitly said you're doing a terrible job, then you're probably doing fine. If you really need to know, ask your boss, as I've mentioned before. But remember to do it in the subtle way that I suggested. Now, if all else fails, and if you're really unhappy with your job, then it's time to move on to greener pastures. Look for a new job. If you really believe that there isn't a chance for you to move up in the company despite your constant improvement, despite your best efforts, then get the heck out of there. There's no point staying at a job where you feel underappreciated to the point that it starts affecting your work performance, or even worse, your self-esteem. There's absolutely no job worth feeling like crap over. I don't know about you, but I'd rather enjoy what I do for a living than paid $1 million and made to feel like crap about it. That's all the time we have for now. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it here in Singapore. Now be sure to continue sending in your questions, and I will answer as many as I can in our next video. Until we meet again, may I wish you success, health, wealth, and abundance in all areas of your life. This is Winter signing off. I wish you a great week.